Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and today we're talking about something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. And so just to let you guys know, I'm now on my laptop that I just bought for when I travel and I'm on the road and stuff. And so I'm just testing it out. This video will be a test. You guys can give me comment on what you think about it, what the video quality, the audio quality, and all that good stuff. And alright, so we are going to be talking about the word analog came up from, and it's like, I asked ChatGPT, what the meaning or definition of analog is, and that'll tie into what we're talking about today. Um, And so, you know, the thing is like a analog clock. What is an analog clock? Well, it's based on uh waves, signals. It has instead of it being digitized or digital, um it has like a crystal in it, to almost like a quartz crystal, watches or clocks have this crystal in them that vibrates just perfectly in alignment with the timing, and it helps watch to keep time. Anyway, so um I was recently thinking about this stuff because I'm like, I just looked at my Vedic astrology chart, or well, my chart, but also the what's going on with the transits right now, and a bunch of constellations are in uh right now in Virgo. So a bunch of planets are in Virgo. Saturn recently moved it, or sorry, Pisces. Yeah, a bunch of planets are in Pisces, and Saturn recently moved in there. And then there's a couple of planets that moved out of Pisces and onto something else. And I'm just like, what is what is at the core? What is at the root of people wanting or needing Vedic astrology in their lives? And, and I guess it just made me kind of dissatisfied with astrology in general. Um, and a thought came to my mind that astrology, what humans gain from astrology, is, in essence, it's an analog. Astrology is an analog um for true spiritual, a connection to spirit. And you know um so a lot of times what people gain from seeing an astrologer, advice, guidance, all that stuff, I tend not to do that stuff, or that's not what I prefer, simply because you're I think it's because, and trust me, I can give advice. I've given wonderful advice and helped many people. That's not it. it's essentially it's I feel like we we place all the responsibility upon our astrological chart. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of, you know, like, I see people getting upset about their astrology chart, or disagreeing with it, or agreeing with it. It's or even going so far as to I have to. Oh God, I have to, since I have a bad Saturn, or my Mars is in a bad place, or whatever. They get all these expensive gemstones, and they wear them, and they do their you know they go to the temple, and they pray and meditate, and it's like that's not what astrology is supposed to be. Oh, I have to identify all the problems in my life so that I can fix them. It I don't believe that's true. And honestly, for those people, and I know, because I do the same thing too. I know that people do this stuff because I do it too. Is whenever they're in a rough patch, whenever they're going through something, they turn to astrology, and they, whether it's, oh, I gotta do my, I gotta fix this problem, I have to rectify Mars, I have to rectify Saturn, or, to, I guess, remedy the effects in your life. But honestly, I think it's the human desire to place all the blame and responsibility on something external, like oh, you're supposed to give me my prediction, you're supposed to give me the tell me what's wrong with my life, and all this stuff. And that's really led me to becoming very very dissatisfied with um and it's not astrology's fault, really. The planets are doing what they're doing. It's us humans that gave them gave them the meaning, gave them like significance. It's that, and and they do. And I'm a shaman. I believe in animism. I believe that all the planets have their own soul and spirit within them, and are have souls just like we do. And so you know I think that for a lot of people, astrology is the go-to for what they're missing, which is a deep spiritual connection, an understanding of themselves and their place in the world. And my spiritual teacher talks about this a lot. Is like, man, a lot of people will say, you know, will say, oh, what does God want? What is, what is God's will for my life? And so the fundamental assumption there is that we are little tiny beings with no free will, no direction, no capacity or ability to make things work for ourselves. And I can tell you that that is false. So, I mean, yeah, I really try to only do only do astrology readings and stuff that, that is positive and beneficial. Try to stay on the lighter side of things because, I just don't want to give people bad news and and make people fall into the victimhood trap again. Like, oh yeah, the universe is doing it to you. Literally, the planets are doing it to you. It's just so ridiculous. The truth is about astrology and all of this is when you incarnated, this is what the lagna is all based about. The lagna, the rising sign, the ascendant. You chose to come here. And not only did you choose to come here, other less powerful souls in the dimensions, other less powerful souls will they haven't made it to the tier that they're allowed to go to Earth. Earth is a place for only very advanced. Ask me how I know. you know, it takes a strong person to go through all the crap that humanity has had to go through. And be in this, this limited space and time. You know? And so, yeah, you know, but you know, again, that word analog came to me. I'm like, what is this? Like, and it, so astrology, I believe, you know, astrology is the analog to the analog version of a spiritual consciousness, of a spiritual connection. Because instead of saying, oh, yeah, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? What does life have for me? Actually, and this is what I've learned from experience and from my spiritual teacher, who has taught me how to do these things, which is to listen. Everybody thinks that things happen to them, that things have to be drawn to them, and I can tell you that's false. You know. So, for example, law of attraction. Let me tell you something. You don't have to have good feelings, positive feelings, all that to attract stuff. What you do is you go from intention to action. Like, man, I want to be happy. I want to be happy and I want to feel loved. Okay? Two wonderful intentions. I want to be happy. I want to feel loved. Okay. How do you achieve happiness? Well, somebody has to bring it to me. I'm helpless. No, 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 no. No, you didn't. No, that's not how it works. Okay. Um. So there we go. Um. No, you have to take action. You have to do the things that bring you happiness. Don't wait for it to happen to you. Don't. Oh, the wind is kicking up here, so hold on. Okay. So instead of like waiting for happiness to happen to you, you have to go out there and take action. Bring happiness, achieve the happiness for yourself. And, it's funny, but it's also kind of sad. I was in uh, a 12-step meeting that I go to, and, you know, I had finally achieved some bit of recovery, and, I was talking about meeting your own needs, and, like, you know, for codependents, they're like helpless babies. They're just waiting for someone to do it for them. And I'll tell you, because I am one. That's a habit that I had to kick. I was like, nobody's coming to save me. Nothing will happen. I don't do it. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is you are God. At the end of the day, your soul essence is God. If you want to say, oh, I'm a part of God, okay, I'll accept, because we're all God. You and me and the rest of the world, we are all parts and pieces of the divine. But that doesn't make us less than God because we have a piece of it within us. If you think about quantum entanglement, two particles, two cells, or whatever, you can do something to one cell and it'll happen to the other cell. So anyway, I don't know how that works, but it's something fun to read up on. But I believe that, it's like a quantum thing. So that little piece of God that's within you, that's like having the full power of whatever you want to call God. All right. So, and so number one, we are creators. Number two, we created our life. A lot of Hindus and other people, they complain about, oh God, they're bad karma. Oh man, I have to, burn off my bad karma, which okay, good, burn off karma, but there's no such thing as bad karma. It's just action and reaction. You know, I'm not the happiest about being born into this life with disabilities. You think that makes me happy? No. I would much rather have a full functional body and not have to take medication every day and be, happy and healthy and all that. And no, but I have to work towards that. Well, yeah, I have to work towards my health and my happiness. But also, the thing about being born with a disability, being born with some kind of limitation, that's, that's my karma. I probably stabbed somebody's eye out or cut their throat out or something in a past life. It was probably a barbarian or something. And, so they, okay, you stabbed his eye. Okay, we're gonna take that from you. See how you like it without one eye. without vision in an eye. And then, you slash somebody's throat. Okay, we're gonna, you know, give you a bad thyroid. Or actually, it comes from the pituitary gland, but either way. Okay, so our karma is a result of our action. Also, Saturn, planet of karma. Everybody complains, oh god, my Saturn is this, my Saturn is and, if, I'm going through Sati Sati, going through a Saturn Mahadasha, which I am right now. I have both of those on my chart. And, but it's like, okay, you know, like, are you seeing any real impact of that? Or is that just a mental game that you're wanting to play in this life? Are you seeing the impact of that? Are you, destitute, homeless, all that? Yeah, yes or no? Some people will be, some people. Another thing is that, um, where is it? Lost it. Okay. So, trying to think. At the tip of my tongue, but um, another thing is, so yeah, oh yeah, so with the law of attraction and stuff, everybody wants a mansion, everybody wants, a Ferrari, and whatever you could want things that are particular to you, like a soulmate or something more spiritually and emotionally fulfilling, like live in the little a place that is the perfect weather and temperature for you. Um, you know, better spiritual connection. You could want better, you know, a higher spiritual connection or whatever. Most people, I'm just making a judgment here. Most people want the superficial shit. Most people want the mansion with the 12 bedrooms, with the, entertainments, uh, entertainment room and the theater room and the game room, pool room, all that, and this and the that and that, and it's, you know, and that's. I feel like that's a very human thing. Want that, because humans at the end of the day are looking for security. They want to be set. They want to feel confident in their resources. You know, they, a lot of people don't want to have to work. Which I get that if you're working a shitty job. I'd love to work. I love to see my clients. I love to do astrology. So, is it work? No. But it pays the bills, I'll tell you that. It does pay the bills. Um, and, so, what else? Oh, yeah, so, here's what I was getting at. Um, the universe only grants you what you need for today. That's the only thing. And what I mean by that is right now I am a prosperous man. I am. I have. Think about it. I'm not starving. I have water. I have food. I have clothes on my body to keep me from this crazy wind. I have a house, shelter. I have, you know, everything that I need. For this day, for today, everything that I need is provided for. And I have extra. Now, the extra, some people might not have. But hey, if you have food, water, shelter, clothing, you're good. That's all the universe is required to provide for you. And that is abundance. Because, and I'll tell you why. Abundance is having more than you need. Or, I should, is that? Having what you need. Having what you need for today. Not 10 years in the future. Today. Because there is no such thing as the future or the past. That is a mental illusionary concept. That is a mental construct. And so if you have enough that if you have your needs met for today, that's a win. Okay? And this is, I tell you guys, this is, a lot of people are feeling, oh god, I need the house, I need the car, I need, a new car, I need a new wardrobe or whatever. And it's just like, no, you don't. No, no. And you have clothes that aren't tattered, aren't in, horrible condition. You don't need new clothes. Lord knows I've been I'm a small guy, so I fit in the clothes that I wore in middle school. Okay. I know it sounds bad, huh? Like, yeah, I've had them for that year, for that long. And and anyway, um so guys, everybody is obsessed with, oh god, I gotta get this, I gotta get that. No, you don't. If you have enough for today, you're good. You have, food, water, shelter, clothing. You're good. It's all that is required. And, homeless people have shelter. They're called shelters. you know? And so, but what I want to focus on is, so 90% of people on this planet are above that, actually. I'll say 95% of people on this planet have everything that they need. Not everything that they want, not everything that they would like to have. Everything that they need for today. A very small percentage of the population, I think, I could be wrong, but are going to die of thirst or whatever. Okay? So point, the point, hold on. I got, okay. I had, phlegm build pulling up on the back of my throat, nose, all that is like, ugh, hate it. Alright, so, yeah, a lot, most people have what they need. And here's the thing. Go look at the Shamanic Secret Commandment. Yeah. What is it? What's it called? The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. There it is. And if you go there, go to Amazon. It's by Michael William Denney. And what you'll find is, when you read that book, it talks about how the shamans used to live, or how the early tribes used to. They would hunt a deer, an elk, or whatever, and they would, eat what they could for that day, and then, they would. There wasn't really any kind of way to preserve things back then. They didn't have the technology. They were living off the land, and so their motto was just for today. Literally, just for today. Like, get what I need for today. And my book that I'm writing right now, it talks about that. And so instead of, I know a lot of people like obsess about, I don't have enough or whatever. And if you have what you need for today, that's enough. That's prosperous. That's being prosperous. You don't need to plan out 10, 20. So, anyway, how did I divulge into that? Okay. Not quite sure, but yeah. Anyway, so, what? Yeah, like I was talking about. Oh yeah, so this plays into our topic about astrology being an analog for a spiritual connection, or whatever. And so, um, with that, a lot of people are trying to figure out, okay, what's what's the purpose of life? What is what is God intended for my life or whatever? And it's just like, that's the wrong question. How I choose to live every day is, what can I do that will bring me greatest joy? That's how I choose to live every day. So, figuring out the soul desire, figuring out what you want to do in life. Figuring that thing or those things that give you the greatest joy in life. And guys, I'm doing it right now, talking to you. That's what gives me joy. And it's like they. So, I want you to know that people have quit their jobs, their shitty 9 to 5 jobs that they hate, and they've actually chosen, or people have done this, they've chosen to do whatever it is that them And you can too. It's not impossible. And so, when we're in that space of pursuing what gives us joy, moment by moment, day by day, um, that's it's the perfect life. And um, and that person, you right now, that person who does that, who pursues their highest form of joy every day, um, that person isn't asking, "Oh God, what is is it Saturn retrograde? Is it Mercury retrograde? What's going on in my chart? Why am I feeling this way?" What all of that stuff. They're not asking that. Taking charge of their own life. They're saying, "Hey, you know, things are great. Things are wonderful. Yeah, I might not have everything that I need or everything that I want, but that's okay." Like, I think for the law of attraction, manifestation, people who are trying to manifest things, um, they can oftentimes be disappointed by, oh, they didn't have the right feelings, they didn't, you know, feel hard enough to attract things. But in this life, in this attitude towards, okay, I'm going to pursue my highest form of joy. And even if it's, even if it gives you 1% joy. I told a client of mine the other day, you know, she, she was struggling with just the stuff going on in her life and all that. And she was frustrated as one is when we um what's the point of this? What's the why am I here? Why am I forced to live this life and all that? And I was like, instead of, going with the misery and life is life is hard enough. Why dwell in the misery? Instead of doing that, I want you to find one thing that gives you 1% of joy. 1%. You don't have to figure it out all out, you know? Yeah, you don't have to, okay, I'm moving to Hawaii, I'm going to the Bahamas, I'm buying a boat, you don't have to do all that. Not right now. If that's, if that's the goal that you want, do one thing. Go look at, go look at rentals in Florida or wherever you want to move. You know, go go do something that makes you 1% happy, and then see if you can amplify that 2% to 5%. And this is not easy for a lot of people because their resistance is like, no, motherfucker, you have to stay miserable. so, so there's something called resistance, and this is basically, you know what you should be doing, you know what you have to do, but then there's something in you that says, no, 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 we're not going to do that. Because for a lot of people, their lower negative emotions are addicting. Addicting. Okay? And I know it because the the chemicals and the physical reaction, physical, um, you know, how certain emotions affect your body, like chemically and physically and on the nervous system and all that. Some people become addicted to those emotions. I'm not lying. Something called rageaholics, where people like, instead of actually having sad feelings of sadness, they'll become angry as like, oh man, and that anger fuels them, it fires them up. And so a lot of people, having instead of admitting to any kind of vulnerability or weakness or you know emotional feeling other than anger, they'll just go to anger. I'll just go to and that can become addictive, and even just throwing a fit, punching things. Oddly enough, it feel good to punch things and things like that, stuff like that. So instead of actually feeling the emotion, we'll go to that. All right. What else? I don't know. Let me see. Okay. This video has been long enough. Alright, guys. Love you. Thank you for everything, and I hope this has helped you in some way. Hope it's helped you, and love you guys, and yeah, take care. See ya. Bye. Bye bye, guys.